Peace and grand rising to the heirs. Today is November the 1st, 2020 on the Gregorian calendar, Greco-Roman calendar, 1440 on the sun calendar, and 1441 on the moon calendar. We are honored to be here. We're still feeling the energies from this past weekend. We had our full moon, October 31st, solemn assembly all across the land where Moors went out to the ancient sites and mounds and monuments that are Moorish monuments, because there's none ancient but us. And we went out and continued our grand rising by reconnecting with those energies. We had an awesome time. It was amazing. And we're just grateful for those who traveled such distances to be here. Most of them were traveling on Friday, so the attendance was a bit low on Friday, but Saturday, those who were meant to be here were here, and those who went to the mounds in their territory were connected with us on that same day. So there were thousands of us who were connected on that day by going out to the mounds. We're so excited about that. When we were in our Negro, black-colored, and African-American thoughts, and we thought that that's who we were, that ancestral connection was, and I would say dormant, because it never left us. We've always had it. But it was dormant within us, and we have, since our awakening, rekindled and reconnected with our ancestral energies. And for that, we are so, so grateful. And going out to the mounds further assisted us in doing that. The Moors who came here, we went out to the mounds, we meditated out there for a short time, and it was absolutely just, the energies were just there. We can still feel them. And I hope, and I know, it's not even a hope, it's a knowing that that connection will remain with God. And those who couldn't be here, we missed you. We did miss you, and that's all who could not be here, we missed you. And grateful for those who went out to the mounds in their territories. Is there anyone who went out to the mounds that wants to share their experience in some of the other territories, since we, and even in this territory, if you were here and you want to share your experience about going out to the mounds and reconnecting with the ancestral energies within us, as well as those that were at the mound sites. You can star 6 to unmute if you want to share your experience. Before the call started, we heard one of the experiences of one of the Moors. She was sharing her experience of how she went out to the mounds, and it was the same, just amazing. So I just want to make sure that we give you all an opportunity. Go ahead, Empress Aisha. I see you unmuted there. Go ahead.
Okay. I went out to the mounds here in Flint, Michigan. It was my first time having gone and done something like that, but it was, I mean, I could feel the energy. It was nice. It was really good. It's just, I mean, you really can't put it into words, you know. And I got back home, I could feel the energy. It kind of like tired me out, you know. So I had to lay down and rest when I got back home. But it was good. It was really good. I enjoyed, and I believe I was feeling the energy of the group because I talked to one of the Moors that I know from Detroit that came. I was talking to her on the telephone too, and you know, yes, I could feel the energy. It made a big difference. Matter of fact, a couple of things happened information-wise that I had been trying to get and make some connections on my phone. I hadn't been able to do, and I noticed that evening after I got back home, they popped in.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
the information corrected itself. You know, so, and this is my first time too on the conference call on where I can actually talk to you.
Islam. Wonderful.
I'm overcome, so I'm not going to try to say anything else right now.
Islam, Empress, I know the feeling. Just know that we can feel you. I know the feeling of being just overwhelmed by the energies. Those ancestral energies are just something amazing. And this weekend really brought that forward some more. I'm still overwhelmed a little bit by the ancestral energies because they are indeed strong. And that's why I haven't posted anything out on social media yet. Although I am seeing some of the photos come from other Moors who were here, but it's just I'm basking in the afterglow of that, and it's not even an afterglow; it's more of a permanent connection. We've made the connection, and that is the part that I'm excited about. So we feel you, Empress, definitely. Islam, and I'm so glad you were able to go and also to connect with the Moors who were here while they were here as well. So from the Detroit territory. Islam. Thank you for sharing that, Empress.
You're welcome.
Islam. Anyone else want to share their experience of going out to the mounds from yesterday? We went out to Mima Mounds here, and we were able to meditate for a short time there, and it was just so powerful. It was extremely powerful. We could feel the ancestral energies, and again, we're still feeling them even this morning. And I know that's going to continue because when we feel those energies, we can actually, because it comes from within us, we can recreate that feeling over and over and over again. We're watching the grand rising happen, and as the grand rising happens, we can feel ourselves elevating with each shift.
Tariq Day.
Islam. Oh, welcome, Justice Tariq. Sorry about that. Welcome. We can feel the shift. You know, it's kind of like when you're shifting in a manual conveyance, and you can feel each new gear that you go to. We're feeling that now, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. We can actually feel ourselves setting ourselves free from all that is that was previously attempting to bind our nation and our government. So we're excited about that. Anyone else want to share? And has anyone, does anyone want to share with regard to just the energy in general in terms of, you know, a lot has happened in the month of October. In the stars are reflecting what is going on with us, both from within and without. And there was, on the 8th and the 9th, a huge energetic shift that happened for us. And then on the 13th, there was the retrograde of Mercury. And that has been affecting our energies and causing us to go within. And just like the Empress was saying about going out on the mound, all of that has been going on in the celestials, along with the things that we are manifesting at this time, are working together. I was telling the group, it's not even a group, the nation, our government. I was telling them as we went out on the mound yesterday that about the last time I was out at Mima Mound, I went out there seeking some answers from the ancestors. And I believe I had done a fast around that time, a water fast around that time. And Islam, welcome, Empress. I had done a water fast, and I went and I laid on top of one of the mounds. And I was just, at one point I was speaking with another one of the empresses who is filled with answers and filled with, we, as we do all in our nation, we fill in the blanks for one another. And then I spent some quiet time out there, and I'm telling you, any answers that we need will come from within us when we focus on ancestral energies. The answers are floating all around in the atmosphere, along with the electrical currents out there. And those thoughts, the Great One Mind, will give us whatever answers we need. And from the time that I went to the mound and I reconnected in that way to the answers that I needed, over the next 24 hours, the answers came to that I was seeking, and then more and more and more. And I had to write everything down, and I couldn't get all of it. I couldn't capture all of it, but I know it's not gone anywhere. And I captured what I could capture. And then I had to go back and organize and prepare to demonstrate what I had heard from the ancestors just from that visit to the mound. So I would just, as a suggestion, encourage all more, when you're seeking from the ancestors some remedy, first of all, we know we're the remedy. And second of all, that remedy will come from within us when we do that, when we speak to our ancestral energies within us, and we seek, we will find. And again, the answers they'll come and they'll keep coming. And that's another reason why we keep our energies clear, so that we can hear. So having said that, are there any questions? Justice Gregory, I believe you had a question at the beginning of the call. That you wanted to.
Yes, Islam. I'm seeing one of our more fellow brothers speak on militia groups, and I know that you said we don't use war energy. So he was saying how what we're doing is not working. I know better, but he feels like we should protect. He was saying in a video on Facebook how he stopped them from taking his mother's house, and how he was in a picture with Sharon and her house got taken and boarded up when she got taken. So he felt that, I guess because he stopped them, with this militia group that he's forming, he stopped the Europeans from taking his mom's house. Could you add a little energy to that? Islam?
I muted myself because whenever we talk, it echoes. For some reason, when you and I talk, Justice Gregory, it echoes. So I muted so that you could speak, and then yours needs to be muted while I respond so that that echo is not there. But feel free to unmute when you're ready to speak. I'd love to speak to that. So when we know what the word sovereign means, we will know, first of all, that we all have the authority to stop any Albion behaviors. And I'm going to speak generally about this because the same thing that applies to, for example, to me or to any of the Moors out there applies to all of us. It's easy for someone to point to one incident out of the many and say, oh, look at that. That happened. That means that applies to everyone. And that's not the case in terms of the outcomes of each of our demonstrations. So any of us, and we said this from the very beginning, anytime we are expressing our nationality, there is a way to do it. Okay? And those who, first of all, Justice Gregory, I would first say be careful what you listen to out there because your ear gate is sacred and it does not need to feed into war energy. That's number one. And that goes for all of us. Be careful what you hear out there in terms of that, because if they're not pointing you to the power within you, then it's probably not something you really, want to put a whole lot of energy into. Number two, we already know what are the 5 points of light: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Any old Albion animal can war. War is easy, but we're not doing that. That's not what we do. We're not here to be more of the same. Okay, so anyone, and I don't know who you're referring to, so I can't speak to whoever that is. Welcome, Empress. I can't speak to whoever it is that said whatever they said, but we don't war. We know we don't war, and we're never going to war. We didn't have to war. We haven't had to war thus far, and we're not going to war. Yes, because we are doing what we're doing, there are some that are going to try and distract as many as possible. They're going to do that. They're going to try and get you off of the peace because they know that Albions don't have any, and when I say Albions, I mean corporate. All Albions, but corporate, don't have any defense mechanism for peace. They already know how to war and shoot guns. Guns are primitive. They know how to use that. That's animal behavior. It's animal behavior. We're not animals. We're the heirs. We don't have to do that. What we do have to do is the opposite of war, which is peace. Yes, some of us have had things done. We've been tested in areas where some have had policy enforcers to force their way into domiciles and et cetera. Some have had that happen. Not all of us, but some, a few, have had that happen. Some of us have been arrested, so we've been tested by that. But that's been happening historically anyway. I will say this, not a single Moor who truly terminated all corporate contracts and who is truly seeking by way of their ancestral energies, not a single one of them of us have had our domicile doors kicked in or anything like that. We've not had anything like that. Why? Because our ancestors chose not to test us that way. There are some who have been tested that way because that's the way the ancestors chose to test them. Others of us were not tested that way. And how you are tested has everything to do with you and your energy. How we are tested has everything to do with us and our energy and our competence and all of that. So yes, they can keep pointing to just one incident. They can point to one or two. But that's not going to help anyone in terms of pointing to the problem. Point to the solution. What about the rest of us? We're fine. And Empress Sharon is fine as well. She's still with us here. She is being tested just like our nation is being tested. But we always come out of our test stronger, faster, better, more competent, more diligent, more committed to our nation. And if all of those Moors who have been tested in that manner, just wait till they come out of that. They're going to be that much stronger, faster, and then there's going to be none of that happening. None of that happening. But who in the world thinks that this vast estate is going to be given to anyone who's not been tested? If you're being tested, congratulations. That means that you're on the list to govern the vast estate.
Was your drunk driving
You're on
a test?
the list, okay? You're on that list to be governing the vast estate. Don't ever let any of that dissuade anyone. And please, when other folks say things, and this is just a suggestion, you're going to see a lot of trash out there. Why do you think it's out there now instead of before? Why are they saying those things now? Because we did it. We've all done it. We are overcoming that system and commanding it and telling it what to do. And some don't want that. But we did it anyway. This weekend was a prime example of that. This weekend was a prime example of us coming together. They said we couldn't do it, but we did it. Moors all over have gone out and reconnected with the ancestors. And the Christians have a saying that says, if God be for us, who can be against us? Well, who is God? We are that. If we be for us, if I'm for you and you're for me, and we're all for each other equally, who can be against us? Who? Certainly not a dead corporation. Certainly not a dead corporation. Most certainly not. And certainly not those who are foreign, hybrid, commercial corporations. So now, what was the question? That was the answer. Those who focus on the test instead of the solution to the test, which is in the mirror, by the way, for the Moors, then you'll stay focused on that and you'll miss the solution when it's staring you in the face. So they'll probably be pointing to one incident for the next, I don't know how long. Meanwhile, the grand rising continues. And know that all of those who are being tested by jail and prisons and foreclosures and things like that, they're rising right along with us. We haven't left them at all. They're rising because guess what? We all know that through our tests we learn. Through our tests we learn. And after a while, the peace is never disturbed. Never disturbed. Not even by interruption energy. Especially not foreign animal energy, hybrid energy. So we're okay with that. We're okay with the grand rising. It's good. It's a good thing. And we're going to stay focused on that. That's what we do. Staying focused on the grand rising. And notice any of the demonstrations that we do are going to uplift us each and every time. Our energies, our competence, our confidence are all uplifted when we demonstrate.
Hey, Pauline, what the fuck happened to your energy with Nalo? That got disconnected,
Okay.
didn't it? Pauline?
So the seeking to interrupt the energies is a no-go. So anyway, as we continue the grand rising, our connection with one another remains. Islam.
Islam. Thank you.
Islam. You are welcome. Islam. You're welcome. We remain focused on nation building. That's where our focus remains. And guess what? It's working, or else we would not have interruptions and attempts to interrupt, actually, because they don't work. Islam. We are solid. We're strong. We stand. And when the testing comes, we peacefully go through it and overcome it every single time with our bloodline, our birthright, our ancestral energies, and that's another reason why this past weekend was so important. The ancestral energies is what lets us know in our knower that we've already won. We're going through the tests and things, but we've already won. It's a wrap. That was written in history way back when. We won this a long time ago. So, no, we're not going anywhere. We will be here. Islam. We wanted to talk about some of the things that we discussed last night at our summit, our nation.
Yeah, why don't you talk about Malo?
You know, our United Nations meeting. At our United Nations meeting, and I call it a United Nations meeting, we call it a United Nations meeting because there were Moors from various territories here. And each one of the territories is a nation. And we are not under anyone or anything, but we are one government. And some of the things that we talked about yesterday in our meeting, because this was not just a social gathering. Yes, it was for us to connect in this dimension, in the fleshly dimension, which was a beautiful thing. It felt great. But it was also a meeting where we wanted to accomplish some things and speak to some processes and protocols within the territory so that there is uniformity across the territory. And one of the things that we did talk about is our Moorish vanguard and our Moorish muftis, our Moorish wazirs, our Moorish law enforcement and law makers, lawgivers who secure all that we are, which is all of us really. And we talked about how there is no need for any of us to face-to-face confront any foreign subject on our land. In terms of, there's no need for us to go into, policy enforcer dens and caves. There's no need for us to go into those places when we can send the word by way of sovereign affidavit. We've always said it in the past, and we will continue to iterate that we speak by affidavit. And when we speak by affidavit, that's enough. In the beginning, the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It's our word that determines all. And so we don't have to go in and speak to them face to face about anything, because that would imply that they are our equals, and they are not. I don't need, none of us need to spend our time focused on confronting the subjects, because believe it or not, the subjects already know their role, and they get in their role when we're in our proper place and our proper persona, in propria persona juris. When we are competent, they will do exactly what we trained them to do. When we are competent, they will do exactly what we trained them to do. The Moors who came to this territory, we had the opportunity to go out and about and go into the grocery store and different places like that. And they were able to see that we were the only ones in the grocery stores and the places that we went that were not wearing masks, because we're not in that mask inferior jurisdiction. We are sovereign, and we do what sovereigns do. And they were able to see that they didn't have to wear them either. We don't have to do that. That's not, there's the word mask. I don't believe it's in the Constitution at all. And I know it's not in the treaty either. It's not. But don't take my word for anything. Do your research. And we went in, we got what we came to get and did what we came to do, and we departed the place. And so, as we continue the Grand Rising, we're seeing the changes, and no one even questions the authority of the heirs. No one questions the authority of the heirs. And that is how we are to proceed on our land. We're not the same as foreigners, so we don't have to do what foreigners do. They are bound to all of that. We are not. And I'm just over the moon ecstatic about the fact that the majority of the Moors already know that they don't have to do that. And some of the Moors are even feeling like they can breathe now that they know they don't have to wear masks, because they're not even on the corporates are walking around on paper. We're on the land. That's not the same. And so we're just so, our nation is growing and rising so quickly and so competently that, and the ancestors are honoring the energies as we continue to do that. So that was another thing that we were able to demonstrate this weekend is the whole mask situation. And then also ensuring that the subjects on our land do as commanded. And we're not rude or at war with anyone. We're not rude or at war with anyone, but we do stand firm and tall and stand on our sovereign authority when we are out and about. So we also talked about, aside from there being no need to confront those doing business as law enforcement, they already know their role. They know what to do. They know to move right on out of the way when the Moors come through. And so as long as we continue to keep clearing our energy and keeping our energy peaceful, that will continue to be the case. Those who have warrior energy, please work diligently. Just a suggestion. Can't tell sovereigns what to do, but work on clearing the energy. We have some powerful energy clearing techniques and things done straight from the Akashic record on how to do that. And again, as we do that, we don't have to worry about being violated. Yes, in the chat, clearing equals hearing. Yes, absolutely. And then the tests get easier when we clear and hear. Islam. Another thing that we talked about, okay, some are wanting to get into the meeting. That's Empress Milo on the text already. Islam Empress. So, just one moment. I'm going to unlock the meeting just for a moment so that the Moors can come in who are wanting to get in. Other things that we talked about is as the vanguard continues to come together, we spoke about the schedule and how to peacefully implement the schedules for the Moorish vanguard. And we're taking our time and taking it step by step and process by process as we move forward with the Moorish vanguard, peacefully, competently, and unified, in a unified manner. And that was another purpose of this meeting, is so that we are unified in what we're doing in terms of white turbans and fezzes. Okay, white turbans and fezzes for the vanguard, so that we are easily identified by one another. And whenever there is a meeting like the one we had this weekend, and I'm grateful to those in the West Territory who wore their white turbans and fezzes and agreed to peacefully be the vanguard. It worked out beautifully because they got to see, and we all got to see, that us governing our own selves on the things that we're doing, the trips that we take, and going out to see the sights, etc., means that we don't have to worry about colonizers attempting to govern us because we are governing ourselves. We had not a single incident of any unlawfulness at all. Not a single one. Because the Moorish vanguard was present and because the Moors who were there are competent and peaceful in their energy. Being a Moorish vanguard is going to be one of the easiest things we could ever do because we're peaceful anyway. And it was actually beautiful. I enjoyed working the whole weekend as Moorish vanguard for the event, along with others. I enjoyed it because not a single positive energy watt was missed. We were still able to be a part of everything. And we did not have to worry about foreign intervention and interference, because interference is actually a better word. And so the Vanguard was on display, so to speak, this weekend so that it can be seen among us that we have nothing to fear and that we're only concerned about one another, because that is our concern. We don't have to worry about foreigners. We just police, and it's not even policing ourselves. It's governing ourselves. It was so simple that you would not have even known if you didn't see the white turban and fezzes, you would not have known that the Vanguard was there because it was that peaceful. But we are present, the peace and safety Vanguard. So that was on display, and I worked the whole time in that capacity as well as coordinating and such. And it was just beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And so uniformity, and then whenever you have events in your territory, we didn't need any weapons. We needed none whatsoever. And our prophet talked about that. So anyone that's pointing you towards weapons, just send them some peaceful energy and keep moving. Don't pay any attention to that, because that's not what we do. Our prophet said, don't even carry a pocket knife. He knew what he was talking about. He said that, our prophet Noble Jarali said, don't even carry a pocket knife. And this past weekend was a prime example of that. We didn't have to carry a pocket knife even. It was that peaceful. The Moors were just on one accord. And everyone who was meant to be here was here. And everyone who went to the mounds or was here in spirit, we felt you. So taking back to the territories with regard to the Vanguard, it's very, very straightforward in terms of us protecting our own selves. We are that protection. And then we also discussed scheduling of the Vanguard 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year, because we know there are only 7 days in a year. We know that from the 101s and 102s. And so the way that the scheduling will work is the same way, or it's very similar to the way the corporate did it previously, where they're on call. So I would be on call, and this is just an example, I would be on call from 12 noon or 12 midnight until 12 noon. And then another one of the of the Moors in the territory would be on call from 12 noon to 12 midnight. And we fill that schedule 7 days a week. And when we publish that schedule on the public record and say we have coverage all of the time, then if something arises between the airs and we need to see what's going on, whoever it is that's on call will have a free conference call number, or we'll have a main free conference call number in the territory that whoever's on call can say, if they get a text or a call saying, I need to speak to you about something that's going on here at my domicile. Can you, let's meet on freeconferencecall.com so that we can see one another, because we do want to lay eyes on one another and make sure that we can see that, you know, everything is okay, and talk out whatever it is and come to some solution about whatever it is being on call. But one thing I know about us is that those calls will be few and far between when we're peaceful and when we're competent and when we're not attempting to confront subjects who only take commands. We don't have to deal with that. With them, they have their fake policy enforcers. Let the fake policy enforcers deal with the fake citizens. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar. That's them, not us. And that's what we're doing at this point in terms of the Moorish Vanguard. So those were some suggestions that were made in terms of going back to the territories and being uniform. Is publishing a schedule. And the publication of schedules will be, it will happen over time, just the same way that the court actions happened over time. The court actions, when we first started doing them, there were just, you know, one or two of us doing them, and then there were more doing them, but not putting them on the public record where everyone could see them. Some could see it, but not everyone, and that's fine. All of that is fine. In fact, all of that it's encouraged either way you do it. And now court actions are going on all over our land. Whether we see them on social media or not, they're going on. And that was affirmed this weekend as well. Further affirmed because we knew it, because we talked to Moors all the time in the different territories who are doing them. And so we want to continue the court actions and continue the liens that are going out. If anyone has breached where unlawful occupation of our sovereign original indigenous land is concerned, we are still leaning. We're not going to stop leaning. We're not going to stop doing court actions. And now that the Vanguard is forming and being formed, and in some territories already formed and active, we are moving into a place where we can further stand when we speak and be that which we speak. So publication of the schedules. And then, you know, 9 times out of 10, there won't be any calls in terms of issues going on. However, if there are any calls and someone just has a question, and that's another way we can be there for one another, because really the Vanguard is going to be that too, where those who are on duty, so to speak, can answer calls and questions that come in from the Moors in any of the territories really, but you know, if Moors need assistance with, hey, I had a quick question about what do you think about this or that, you know, then that can be the case. But right now the Vanguard calls are going to be territorially oriented, where those in the territories connect first. Okay. Hang on just a second. I'm unlocking the call for just a moment again. So we want to be sure as we continue that there is uniformity where the scheduling is concerned. And depending on how many vanguards you have in your territory, that will determine the scheduling piece. So in our territory, we have about between 8 and 10 Moors, and out of the 8 and 10, we have about probably 6 who are willing to do the vanguard scheduling. And so that means that we have coverage for out of the 7 days of a week, that will be about 2 shifts for the whole week that each of us will be doing. 2 12-hour shifts for the whole week. And during that time period, if any of the 7 of the 10 or of us have any issues or any, anything that we need the vanguard need to see and speak to a vanguard about, we can meet over freeconferencecall.com to speak to one another about whatever the issue is. And then we'll go from there. Okay. So that is another protocol, a suggested protocol for the territories as we move into the vanguard piece. Are there any questions about the vanguard and about the scheduling and the white turbans and fezzes for that, or anything else about the vanguard and how we're going to proceed? We do have some seamstresses who are going to be assisting with the uniforms and ensuring that, and the uniforms really is just the white turban or fez, the white turban or fez, and we may do, there's a green jacket with a Moorish flag on it that I received this past weekend from the Moors at Detroit Territory. That might even be a uniform item that we can employ as well, so that, again, everyone knows who's doing vanguard duty for the events that we have. Okay. And the green, for those who can see me, I'll put myself on the main screen so you can just see the green jacket that I'm referring to. Let me see if I can get myself on there. So you can see this green jacket with our Moorish flag. The Moorish flag is right over our heart on the green jacket, and the jacket is camouflage green. That with either a red or white top of some kind, and then the white turban is a consideration. But the white turban says is for sure. So there it is. Okay. Here's the jacket. I'm not sure if that's clear. Yes, Islam. Okay, good. You can see it. This one I received from Empress Minnie at Detroit Territory. But any green jacket that you all have where you can put the flag above your heart, a flag patch above your heart, and then with a white turban and maybe a white top underneath, or a red top underneath, or however you want to present, but the white turban with the green jacket and the flag, that's another consideration for the events that we have as Moorish Vanguard. And as it turns out, we didn't need, it was just a beautiful gathering. This is the first gathering that our Vanguard at West has done. And it turned out exactly the way our ancestors meant for it to turn out. It was very beautiful, very peaceful. The energies were amazing, and we're still feeling the effects of those. So, aside from that, any other questions about any of the topics that we've covered thus far?
Islam.
Islam.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I just wanted to thank you, Empress, for having this gathering. It was like a family reunion, and I really hate that I missed the meeting after the trip to the Mima moundes and the other sites. But I'm have to catch up with you on there. But I really enjoyed that. All of us came together at the Mima moundes, and we were all sharing, different experiences that, we went through and how we became aware, and I just enjoyed that. And the energy was angelic, everyone was beautiful. And again, I really thank you, Islam, and I yield.
Islam. Empress Portia, it was just amazing to meet you in person. After hearing your voice all this time on the calls, it's just beautiful to see the face with the appellation and connect with the energies as well. I'm so glad that you decided to come, you and the other heirs from the Detroit, Michigan territory. Amazing energy. I'm still floating from the meeting.
It's a pleasure to meet you too, and all of the other Moors that I got to meet and see.
Yes.
This was a beautiful experience, and then Washington is beautiful, and it just seemed like the universe just came together for this because the weather is still beautiful.
Yes.
It's sunny and it wasn't freezing, and it was beautiful.
Yes. Which is unusual for this, it's unusual for this place and this time. Normally it would be cold and rainy here at Seattle, Washington territory. But
and I've never been here before, so I've always heard that too, that it's rainy most of the time. Yeah.
Yes.
This was meant to be.
It's just been stunningly beautiful, yes. And it was, Empress. I'm so glad, like I was telling you the other day, everyone who was meant to be here was here. Our brothers from South Carolina, Justice Raphael and Justice Arthur, just brought their energies as well. It was amazing. Just amazing. Just so many. Empress Deku. I could go down the list. Of course, Noble C. Petite L, Empress Minnie. It was this beautiful Empress Freedom. I don't want to forget anybody there. It was just a beautiful, very beautiful gathering. And I'm looking forward to doing it again on October 31st of next year as well.
Yeah,
we're planning on doing that every year. Every year.
Yeah. Well, I did mention it's going to get bigger every time you do it. More and more people are going to come.
Yes. Islam. I know that.
Hey, Pauline, where the fuck was Malo?
I know that we are a remnant, but I do know also that those who are a part of us are going to be waking up en masse very, very soon. And we, the remnant, are being prepared for the great awakening that's going to happen with our kin and with one another. Yes, the meeting is unlocked. I see you in the chat, and I'm getting the text messages as well. I'm unlocking it for a short time. We're just trying to keep the animals out of the meeting because it is for the nobility. But we're going to have this meeting every year, and the beauty is that all of the territories can participate because we all have ancient mounds in our territories. All of us have those in our territories.
What about Delilah's?
From mounds to monuments to just mountains in general, because the mountains are mounds as well. We know that. You know. So we're just excited about all that our ancestors are doing, and just reconnecting, knowing who we really are this time. I'm excited about that because that's going to make the difference in all of our demonstrations, all of them. Let's see, what else did we want to? Are there any other questions or comments? Any other questions or comments? Islam. So I'm going to go ahead and follow the leading of the ancestors and end the meeting here so that we can continue. We just wanted to send some of the energies your way as well today after this monumental, awesome weekend. And then we will meet back again on Wednesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So we appreciate all who went out to the mounds, and we're actually going to be going out there periodically over time. So with that, we are going to end the call for now, and we will be back at it again on Wednesday. Peace and grand rising to the air. Islam.
Grand rising to the Lord.
Grand rising to the Lord.
Grand rising.
Grand rising. Peace and love.
And thank you, Israelites, for all that you do.
Islam. Grand rising. Yes, Islam. Grand rising. Yes, grand rising. Yes, grand rising. Yes, grand rising. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. Grand rising.
Peace and love.
Empress Light.
Yes, Islam.